Hey everyone, and welcome to our comprehensive video on using the target card. We kind of held off on sharing this video because we were planning on implementing more and more features, which we have now done into the app, but we wanted to make sure that we got a lot of those features in before we released a video, because the target card itself is a fairly complex beast that has a lot of features tied into it. So let's go ahead and get started. To access the target card, when you're on the shoot menu, you can see the shoot menu is highlighted here with a little blue tick mark. Click the center navigation icon and click on target. And that'll bring up the target card. We're gonna go from top to bottom and then we'll go over the features here. So from top to bottom, we have our quick profile edit button. Clicking on this will bring in the current active profile and I can make changes. The reason that's important is because right here, scope units determines the output of the target card. So you can see here, we're currently in MOA. If I wanted this to be in inches or mils or anything else, and this works the same way on the range card, I would tap here and I would select one of these. So if I select mils, back and save, the target card is now operating in mils. So just be aware of that. The next button is your devices page. This will bring you over here to your devices if you wanted to. It'll also be green if you have an active device. Let's go ahead and power on a rangefinder here so you can see what that looks like when it's active and connected. There you can go. You see it turn green. It also turned green down here. The last button on the right tells you your current subscription level. More information about that. Moving down, we have the actual target card. I'm going to go ahead and expand this out so that you can see it here. And then we're going to go left to right and go through all of these inputs. So starting from the left, we have our current target name. We can rename this by clicking on it and we can give this any name that we want. So we'll say this is 0, target 0, and then so on and so forth. Your ranges here can be anything you want as well. So they don't have to be in any order. This can be 1776 and this one can be 10 yards. And this one can be 1,000. And then the next one, you guys get the idea, can be 300. You kind of get the idea. They don't need to be in any particular order. Put whatever range you want. The next column here is our current hold. So in this case, this is going to tell you what you need to hold to hit the target with the current profile. The next column is wind 1. Something to go over with wind 1. Wind 1 includes aerodynamic jump. So just be aware of that. If I go here into my settings, and then I go down here, I can turn aerodynamic jump off. There we go. And aerodynamic jump is tied to wind 1. Now aerodynamic jump affects your elevation, but just be aware that it's tied to wind 1. So changing wind speed 1 is what's going to affect that. Okay. We could also turn spindrift or Coriolis on and off, and that will, you can see here, affect the target, the firing solution as well. So let me go ahead and turn that back on, and you'll see it's back. So just note that you have those settings. But wind 1 and wind 2, this is going to be your spindrift, your Coriolis, and your wind all tied in one solution. This is what you need to hold to hit the target. Lead is not tied into wind 1 or wind 2. Lead for moving targets is calculated separately, so just be aware of that. This you need to combine with these in order to hit your target. The time of flight is how long it's going to take the round to impact the target. So in the case of the first target, it's going to be 5.33 seconds. This is your impact energy. So this current profile would impact with 44 foot-pounds of energy at that distance, but 1,152 at 10 yards. Some of these, by the way, your energy, your velocity, your range, all of those are managed over here in the settings. So I could switch to meters a second, centimeters for my outputs. They're all managed here. So make sure your unit settings and settings are set appropriately for this. Mach is the current Mach value. Now something to note here, if you ever get a target that falls in the transonic range, so let me go ahead and set this target to we'll do 850. Nope. Okay, we need to do 800. Not quite. We got it close, just a little guess here. All right, so if a target falls in the transonic region, which is Mach 1.0 to 1.2, let's do this again. Sorry, there it goes. All right, it'll turn red, which indicates that this current target is in the transonic region. So just something to note there. The next thing is your probability of hit. So this column shows you your probability of hit. Do note that these can be individualized. So I'm going to collapse this down and show you something real quick. I'm going to open up the WES controller here. These targets for each target don't need to be the same. This one I could set as a circle. This one I could set as a elk. And so I can set different targets uniquely to each one. I do that by selecting a target and then customizing its information. Just make sure you deselect it when it's done. These orange indicators over here indicate that these two targets have custom information in them. This row here shows you your azimuth or your direction of fire to the target. So if you lay the phone flat and point it at a target and you tap these buttons, you can capture unique direction of fires for each target. We can also capture a unique inclination for each target using these buttons here in the target card. So if you're at a range or at a match and you want to set those, you can set those individually just by tapping those buttons here as you point the phone, laying flat at different targets. Maximum ordnance, this is the highest point in the bullet's trajectory on its way to the target from the line of sight. So for instance, for target Charlie, the bullet will peak at 63.74 inches. Really useful information for some people. Maybe you have power lines, maybe you have an obstruction, maybe there's some reason you want to know how high that bullet travels. Well, this will tell you. The next output here, max ordnate range, tells you the range at which that's going to happen. So for this 700-yard target, the bullet will peak at 63.74 inches, and that's going to happen at 406 yards. Trace is where you should watch for bullet trace. So in this case of target Charlie, I would want to watch 4.36 mils above the target in order to spot that trace. So that's just a useful tool for spotting rounds in flight. Dialed elevation. I'm going to bring up the reticle controller now. The dialed elevation is your output if you say you dialed onto my scope. So this is a corrected holdover for what you have dialed on your scope. So let's say that I dialed 5 mils onto my scope. You can see here it's corrected the firing solution for that dialed elevation. I want you to watch again what happens when I take that back out. Watch the firing solution at the top when I hit done, and you can see it's put that back. So just be aware that this is a dialed elevation output that corrects for when you've dialed into the scope. Drop is the true drop that the bullet has experienced since it left the barrel, not corrected for line of sight, not corrected for the firing solution. This is just how much the bullet has dropped. If you were to lay the rifle flat and just fire it and let that bullet just fall, this is how far that drop would be. These highlighted icons over here tell you that you have individual or custom information on this target. You can tap on it and that'll allow you to clear that. You can clear the custom target settings, clear the WES settings, or clear all. If I hit clear all, you can see all that information's gone. The indicator over here is white for the target name, showing it has no custom information. You can also do just one or the other if you want, or you can just outright delete the target. By the way, pressing and holding on a target will also bring up that same menu. So you can do that from anywhere on that target line. The trash can button deletes a target. There we are. And that's really the gist of the lines here on the target card. Now I want to show you something here real quick as we move down here through these options. We have our expand button, which expands this out so that you can get a more broad view if you'd like. The next button here is the settings button. The settings button allows us to nuke the target card entirely, clear all custom data. This will clear all the custom data from all of the targets, or edit the columns if you're a pro level user. I can tap edit columns. I can turn these on or off if I wish to, and I can move them around. So let's say that you wanted to move your dialed elevation column up here next to elevation and use that instead. You can move those around. As a pro level user, you'll see those features. This button exports the target card, so I can export it as CSV or QR code. If I choose to export it as a QR code and I had other sectors here, it would give me the options to export one or multiple of those, and we'll go over that later. And then the plus icon just adds more targets. Now, something about adding targets I'd like to also include in this video is you can add targets by hitting the plus button. I can also add targets by lasering a target. So I'm going to turn on laser rangefinder, and I'm just going to laser. And you'll see that it's adding targets in line. Now, if your laser rangefinder transmits direction of fire and inclination, that information will also be included. So you can see that information here. So just do note that that information is transferred by some devices. Another thing you can also do is I can select a target. Let's say I selected target Delta, and if I laser it with a laser rangefinder, it will input that information for that target for me. You can now see it's customized, orange indicator, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and clear all. That's gonna nuke this thing. There we go. And now we're gonna go over the reticle. So the reticle output display will display your target card in a reticle output display. These will not carry over custom names. So I'm gonna name target alpha to 0. So it will not carry those custom names over. You can see it still says alpha. The other thing to note here is this can be numeric. So if I go to the settings and I select numeric, they'll be numeric here. Now I'm going to switch this back to alpha. For phonetic targets, there you go. Another thing to note is that they will be in the correct order. If let's say I switch this to a 600-yard target and I go back to that reticle view, you can now see alphas here at the bottom. So they will be in the correct order based on distance. So you do have that option, and you can mess with the reticle output display here with this as well. So I'm gonna go back to the target card. Now, one more thing that I would like to demonstrate here is I'm going to go into sectors just a little bit, but not a whole lot. I'm gonna bring out the target controller. Now, sectors, there's a whole video on sectors. If you're a pro level user, the target card does feature sectors. You can have group sectors. If I create a group, and I just name this a test group, inside of here, I can now have multiple sectors. So multiple targets, as if maybe this is a shooting range or a shooting match or something like that. So we'll do A, B, C. And so you can see we've created new sectors. You can rename these if you want by hitting the pencil icon and rename that individual sector. We can also export these. You can see here I can select multiple things to export selected, and it will create a QR code to do that. Sometimes it might generate multiple QR codes. You can then download and share, or just have somebody scan this, and then they will have all of this stuff that you've created. So let's go back. We can delete a group sector by hitting this delete button. You can also create just ungrouped sectors if you want by hitting the new sector button here, creating a new sector. We'll just do A. And then when I select it, you'll see there's no entries here. The default sector is always the default sector. It's always going to be there as well. You can delete them by hitting the trash can icon. Okay. So that is sectors. Now with sectors, you can only send one target card at a time over to a device, but I just turned a device on. And now if I hit the export button here, you'll see I have transfer to device. Now this Vector X does have the ability, some Garmin watches like the Tactics 8, the 7 does not, but the 8 is able to receive target cards. So is the Instinct 3 Tactical. There's different devices that can receive target cards from maybe Quantum. If they can, then you will see this on both the export and on the settings icon, transfer to device. If they can. If they can't, that option will not be there. All right, let's go over what individual information you can now input into a single target line. That way that you can see that next. So down here we have our controllers, and we're gonna do a couple things here with controllers. We're gonna go through them one at a time. Temperature, humidity, pressure, latitude, and density altitude. None of these can be individualized to a specific target. I cannot tell it that this target is a different temperature than this target in the target card, okay? So these are all universal. Going on to the target controller here, azimuth can be individualized. So if I were to give this one, let's see here, I'm gonna give this one an individual azimuth and inclination here. So you can see here that I have these azimuth and inclination. If I go here and I set this azimuth to 20 degrees, you'll notice these all updated, but this line didn't because it has unique values already established in it. So just be aware that you can universally update all of them or individually update them. But once you give this target individual information, it doesn't update universally. So I'm going to go ahead and set an inclination of 2 degrees so you can see those numbers all update and see how this one is different. Now, if I wanted to update this one, I would need to go in and manually change it since it's got manual information. Or you can press and hold, clear that custom data, and you can see now it reverts to the universal settings of the app. Okay, so azimuth and inclination can be done line by line on each target, as well as a moving target speed. I can give this a moving target speed that's unique to it. So if I set 3 miles an hour, now this one has a 3 mile an hour moving target speed, but you'll see this one says 0. And when I go back to this one, you'll see it says 3 miles an hour. And there is a tool for that as well here to help you calculate a moving target speed in your scope. When it comes to wind, you can have unique direction of fires. So let me go ahead and just set a couple here. There we are. So here we have unique direction of fire. Now you have to set the wind direction because this is wind reference north mode. So I would set the wind direction, and that's going to be the same for all targets. The wind speed will also be the same for all targets. I cannot set a different wind speed on different targets, but what I can do is set a different direction of fire. I want you to watch what this bullet does as I go through these targets. So you'll watch and you'll see it rotate into different directions here. So I can set a different direction of fire, and you can see, I'll pull this up for this wind reference tool. You can see it gives you a unique direction of fire that shows you the way the bullet's traveling and how the wind interacts with that. I can also set the wind direction from here, by the way, as well as by just tapping here in the wind rows. Now there is another way to utilize wind. If I open the settings and I go to direction of fire, which is a clock-based system. When using a clock-based system, I can give each target a unique clock value. So as I go through these, I'm going to give them each a unique clock value. Okay, so now as I click back through them, you'll see each one has a different clock value for how the wind is interacting with it. And that's how you would use wind speed when you're using direction of fire or clock mode. So just be aware of that. All right, now let's deselect this target. And now we're going to go back through here, WES, and we're going to go through WES. So each target, if you're a pro level user, can have its own WES settings. I can, for instance, have a different target shape for each target. I can also have a different confidence level. I can say this is a high confidence level. I can say that this one is a high confidence level. There we go. High confidence level. And you can see that those can be individualized. And that's indicated on the right-hand side here in the target card by the words WES. So just note that these can be universal, or each target can have its own unique target shape. That's really useful if you're setting up a shooting match and you have different shaped targets at the shooting match. Or if you're an instructor and you could do something like this. I could say, all right, we're doing a 500-yard qualification. 500 meter would be more true. God bless the Marine Corps. And so what I can do now is I can set this to be an IPSC target. There we go. 3 IPSC targets, and I can say that's a high confidence shooter. This one's a medium confidence shooter. And this one's a low confidence shooter. And you can see what the difference is in the possibility of a first round hit on those targets. Okay, so that's custom WES information for a target. Let's go ahead and go down through here. Graphs doesn't apply. We've gone over reticles, but ballistic calibration does. You can use the target card while you do a ballistic calibration. This might be useful for getting information like what should I have expected to hit at this target. And then you can go through muzzle velocity, CDF, or DSF calibrations where appropriate. So this does work with the target card. Now I'm going to nuke this target card. I'm going to clear all to reset this thing back to factory. There we go. We have now reset the target card and it's completely back to factory settings in case I made an oops or I just want to completely reset it. That's how you would reset the target card. So, and that's really the gist of how to use it. It is fairly complex, but it should be pretty easy to get the hang of with a little bit of trial and error. If you have any questions or you need any help, you can always click the center navigation button, hit that support button, and send us a support ticket, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. We'll be more than happy to help guide you through anything that you need. Hopefully these videos are helpful. If you would like and subscribe to our videos, it would really help disseminate this information out to other users. That way that they can help utilize the app to its full potential. Thank you, and I hope you have a good day.